That I'll please have Mr. Kern call the roll.
Mrs. Fiesel?
Here.
Mr. King?
Here.
Mr. White? And Mr. O'Brien.
Here. So we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. And the flag is behind me.
Do we have to do it again when we come back?
No.
No, because the meeting will be open. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Let's talk about the agenda. At about 3 o'clock, I think you should get an email with the addendum to the agenda. And I also think there are hard copies here. So with that...
and those just included new employment.
Yeah, so no changes, just additions to late either hires or resignations that have come in. So addendums to items, superintendent action items A and B. So with that, I will accept a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Fiesel?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes, so the agenda passes as amended 3-0. I will now accept the motion to move into executive session as permitted by section 121.22G1 of the Ohio Revised Code to discuss the appointment of a public official. We will take action when we return. So since no one's here, I'm talking to myself. And then we will actually have a second executive session at the end of the meeting on a separate topic. So can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Fiesel?
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes. Okay, we will now go down the hall for the first conference room on your left. All right, so I will call the meeting back to order. It looks like it's 6:49 p.m. So the next agenda item is agenda item 5, is a vote to appoint a board member. As we've talked about, we just finished the interview process. Let me just start with this. 41 candidates, which I think speaks volumes to the commitment of the community to help this district continue to move forward. We narrowed the list down to 3 finalists that were just outstanding candidates. All 3 of them would have been, in my mind, very successful and make significant contributions to this board, but unfortunately we've got to choose one. We can't choose all 3. So with that said, we looked at the set of skills, capabilities, backgrounds that each brought to the table, and we did narrow it to 1, and would ask that the 2 that did not get chosen stay engaged to the district, please. There will be opportunities for you to continue to offer your skills and capabilities, and we would ask you to keep that in mind. And there is an election next November that 3 seats will be up that I think could offer those other 2 an opportunity to contribute as well. So with that, I would make a motion that we appoint Roger Bartz to the open seat for Stacy Dunbar.
I will second.
Any discussion?
I would just like to thank everyone who applied. We had great candidates, and I just want to tell everyone, whether you applied or not, Kevin and I have been through this process.
Right.
And we didn't get selected our first time, and we love the district, like the people who applied love the district, and so I would highly recommend that they stay involved, because it's very rewarding and it's a great organization to be involved in.
Right, thank you. Dave?
I concur and just really appreciate the involvement that all 3 candidates have had with the district and their professional backgrounds, and just the mix is excellent to work with.
Okay, and I would just offer one, procedural issue. It requires a majority of the remaining members of the board. So since Mr. White chose not to join us tonight. It'll take a unanimous vote of the members in attendance. It's the majority of the remaining members procedurally. Okay. So with that, Mr. Kern, would you please call the roll?
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes.
Mrs. Fiesel,
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
All right. So with that, I'd like to call Mr. Bartz up to take the oath of office, please. Mr. Kern, you administer the oath. Brian,
Yes.
And I'll read through and just say I, Roger Bartz, do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, that I will faithfully and impartially discharge my duties as a member of the Board of Education and for the said Olentangy Local School District, Delaware County, Ohio, to the best of my ability and in accordance with laws now in effect and hereinafter to be enacted during my continuance in said office until my successor is chosen and qualified. I do. Congratulations.
Thank you.
you can sit here, Roger.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Mr. O'Brien. Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item is the board president's report. So really, I just want to mention two things since we met roughly a week ago. So one, I believe it's tomorrow, is the oral arguments relative to the appeal of the litigation of Mr. White versus the remaining board members, although Mr. Bart's excluded from that litigation. I believe it's in Akron.
I think so.
So for those who are interested in the ongoing litigation, oral arguments tomorrow on Mr. White's appeal.
Delaware Probate Court.
Is it Delaware Probate Court? I thought it was Appeals
I thought
Court.
it was the Court of Appeals.
It's the Court of Appeals.
I know, but that's where they said it was.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they're having it at the...
Oh, they're having it at
they're gonna hold
Delaware.
it at-
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, it is the Court of Appeals, yes.
Yeah.
But it's being
But
held
there's
in
a-
Delaware. Okay.
Okay.
It better be, because...
That's where you're going?
Okay.
You're good.
I better
Because I
check.
have to work and...
Yeah, I'll be on the road tomorrow.
I'm just gonna double check.
That would be one.
If not, let us know what happens. And
The second item is, due to the newness of Mr. Bartz to the board, I just want to remind all the board members, there's three ways you can always vote: affirmative and the negative, and you can abstain. And abstentions are for a number of reasons, anything from you're not familiar with the materials due to your newness to the board, or there's a conflict, right? So I just want to make sure everyone's aware that you've got that ability to abstain
Thank
should you feel comfortable doing so. So with that, I'll conclude my president's report, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Lucas for superintendent's report.
Thank you, Mr. O'Brien. Welcome, Mr. Bartz.
Thank you, Dr.
Well,
Lucas.
Thank you. And to Mr. Sloan and Ms. Clark, thank you also. And I know you have worked extremely well with us in the past, and I'm sure you will do the same in the future. I appreciate all of your efforts. Thank you. I want to talk, I hesitate to say briefly, because we know a lot of times I'm not brief, but we have a contract extension on the agenda, and I really wanted to dedicate my superintendent's report to this contract extension because there are many variables involved in this entire process, so that everyone present, everyone listening will know and understand what we're doing, why we're doing it, so on and so forth. The contract extension is on the agenda for approval at 2% on the base, and it does run the contract or extend the contract through the end of June of 2016. First and foremost, we wanted to talk a little bit about what got us here, what we have done, so on and so forth. And as you can see on the first bullet, achievement is up and cost per pupil is down. Well, you've heard me say many times here, I hear run it like a business, and I think if we were in the private sector and we may call achievement maybe production is up and cost is down, that's a winning formula. It's also a winning formula here. We've talked a lot about the overall preliminary performance index of 108.7. Not sure where that's going to shake out in regard to comparisons. I do know, I talked to Paul Imhoff down at Upper Arlington today, and we may be behind them by a little bit, but the numbers need to shake out specifically because we have Ian, Dr. Wade, doing our data, and he's very good. So we're pretty solid at 108.7. If it's not at the top, we know it's going to be very close to the top, as it usually is. So PI continues to trend upward. As you recall, in the third grade reading guarantee retention, we have one. I know we gave that test, I believe it was yesterday, maybe today? Today. Don't know the results of that, so we could finish with 0. We're not sure. As you know, 1 is too many. And we will always work to get it to 0, so we're very close to that goal. We anticipate meeting all 24 academic indicators. Commitment we have made to student achievement, and that journey of OTES, the teacher evaluation system, and OPES, the principal evaluation. I don't know if you probably haven't heard the horror stories throughout the state about, oh gee, we had to implement this. I'll have to say that ours went smoothly. Now, that's easy for me to say, by the way. I'm not a classroom teacher and I'm not a building principal, but I can tell you this, in my world, no news is good news, and my phone didn't ring in regard to OTES and OPES. Now, Mr. Ray may have received some of those calls, or Mr. Fetty, or Elaine, but I got 0, which means we maneuvered very well. And cost per pupil is down. We're among the lowest in Central Ohio. For example, the latest this year, we're down to $9,403 per pupil. In 11-12, we were at $95.99. Now, I say that only because these are the things that staff members, community members, everyone has been involved in. And I know that both Elaine and I use this word partnership. And what does partnership mean? And how do you really run an organization with a partnership? I can say this is the 3rd school district I've been in charge of, and without a doubt this partnership works extremely well. That being said, and Elaine will vouch for this, that doesn't mean that we're always on the same page and we're always happy with each other. But one thing that I can always say and respect her for the fact, at the end of the day, the district and that partnership, we have put our personal arguments or debates aside to say what's best for the school system. And I think that's the reason you get those types of results. So first variable above and beyond in regard to this contract negotiation / extension is the fact that we have a great staff. And we've been, you kind of have to look at this through a 5-year lens instead of a 1-year lens of an extension, because the very first extension we had in this district with me at the helm was at a 0%. And believe me, that's not an easy one to make. And Elaine knows that, and I know that. And we both had different roles to fill in regard to how do we push the organization forward so that it's better for the kids, it's better for the parents, and it's better for the taxpayers. That's the first variable we want to throw out there. We also looked at things taking place around us. And of course, we've kept the board up to date, as I'm sure you've read the papers also. What are other districts or similar districts like us, what are they settling for? And some of the things we found, and you already know this, Worthington is at a 2% per year through 2016. Dublin, Hilliard, Southwestern, 2% through 2017. Other districts are either fully negotiating right now or talking about an extension, and everything's right around the 2% mark. So we're very much in line with what our neighboring districts and our competitive districts are settling for. Third thing we talked about, of course, is on the finance end. Can we afford it? Is it the right time? So in our 5-year financial forecast, we have a positive fund balance through 2017. We have an average 5-year base salary increase of 0.8%. Again, that was a 0, a 1, a 0.5, a 0.5, and this would be a 2. And we had a reduction of $13 million in related insurance costs over the life of the current contract. Saying that, I sometimes call it a healthy 5-year forecast only because of my experience, and you know about that experience of, when I looked at it, when I was interviewing, that was before the evidence-based model funding system actually came into play. It was one of those checks in the mail scenarios, and we had a great-looking forecast, and then, of course, things changed, and we had a bad-looking 5-year forecast. And I threw that 5-year forecast out there because that just didn't happen. That was a 5-year process. A lot of people in this district did a lot of sacrificing to get us to that healthy 5-year financial forecast. As you recall, in 2011, we passed a levy, said we won't be back to 3 years. It looks like it's obviously going to be longer than that because it's already been longer than 3 years. So we do have a positive fund balance through 2017. That was a partnership. That was a lot of staff members stepping up and doing what they had to do to sacrifice to do what was best for the school district. Last but not least, there's this thing looming out there, and it's called the upcoming biennial state budget. But in fiscal year 14-15, in the biennial budget, we received, as you recall, originally we said we were going to get a lot of money, but then we got caps placed on the money that we were supposed to receive at 6.25% for an additional $500,000. For the second year of the biennial budget, 10.5% for approximately $800,000. Mind you, by the way, it should have been around the $42 million range, or at least that's what, if we were going by the funding formula, that was what was proposed. Those didn't work out, but the positive side of that is it's better to get an additional $500,000 and almost full million than what it is to stay flat, which is where we've been for the last 10 years. Now, we're already setting the stage for the upcoming biennial state budget. There's a lot of work to do, not only at the board level, but at the community level. Legislators, we just had a meeting yesterday, for example, to talk about the next budget and where we should be. That being said, we really would like to get a firmer grasp of where that budget's going to be in regard to going into full negotiations. And that was also part of the variable of saying, okay, let's extend this thing 1 year, basically giving what surrounding districts are giving. And then it'll give us time to look at that next budget coming up and really get us a firmer footing or more of a focus of what we're really getting from a state funding standpoint. So those are the variables involved, some of the variables. Obviously, there were a lot. And again, I want to thank Elaine and the staff, because one thing about every time we've asked, whether it's been through negotiations, whether it's been race to the top, whether it's been out in front of OTES, third grade reading guarantee, we're always at the cutting edge. And the reason we're at the cutting edge is because we have a partnership and people that are willing to step forward and say, we're going to do what's best for the school district. So that being said, that's my report, and I would entertain any questions that the board may have this evening.
Anything from Dr. Lucas?
Appreciate you doing that.
I just have one addition.
Yes.
In the schools that you listed for what they're settling on in their negotiations, Westerville has settled, but it hasn't been approved by the board yet. It's going to be at 2% for 4 years, just so people know. The
Yes,
board
put it in
just has,
context, yeah.
yeah, the board just has to approve that.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you. Treasurer's report, Mr. Kern?
It's a light agenda items this evening for treasurer action item. We just got 1A, 1 and 2 for approved donations to the district. $750 to purchase a digital piano to Indian Springs from Corey and Marlo Miller. And $750 for auto timer for track events from Verizon Foundation on behalf of volunteer Elizabeth Allen to Liberty High School. So I have to remind Dr. Lucas too, as you mentioned, Upper Arlington might be ahead, that they also spend $5,400 more per child than Olentangy does too. So.
Duly noted.
Good point.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else? No? Great. Public participation? Do we have any?
Nope.
No. That would be items 9, 10, and 11. Okay, I'll now entertain a motion to, moving into agenda item 12, the board action item. I'd entertain a motion to approve board action item A, which is to approve the collective bargaining agreement with the Olentangy Teachers Association.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah. Just for transparency purposes, my husband is not a union member.
He's not a member of this
So-
contract, correct?
Exactly, it doesn't affect him at all, and he's not a union member at any time.
Got it.
So, just for transparency purposes, we've had multiple questions on that, and we have two attorneys' opinions, and that's how it is.
Okay, great. All right. So no further discussion, please call the roll.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Fiesel,
Yes.
Mr. Bartz?
Abstain?
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes. Mr. Kern, we're going to present the treasure action items, please.
Yes. Approval of donations to the districts that I mentioned earlier in the treasury.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, any discussion? Seeing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Fiesel,
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Bartz?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes. The treasure action items passed 4-0. Mr. Lucas, Dr. Lucas, sorry.
Asked to present superintendent action items A through D as amended, please.
I'll move.
Second.
Any discussion?
Just so that people know, the continuous improvement plan, which is C, those are our academic goals for the upcoming school year that we discussed at our retreat. We discussed it at our last meeting. So those are the goals that we hope the district hits. Those goals are higher than what is required by the state of Ohio. And then action item D is to approve the agreement with Epiphany Management. There is no change from last year. The cost is the same.
I'm glad you reminded me. Yeah, thanks for saying that.
Okay, any other discussion? Mr. Kern, please call the roll.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mrs. Fiesel,
Yes.
Mr. Bartz?
Abstain?
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes. Okay, with that, I'll now entertain a motion to go back into executive session to discuss the employment of public employees. We will not be taking action when we get back. We'll only come back and adjourn. So you don't need to stick around. So can I get a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Mrs. Fiesel,
Yes.
Mr. King?
Yes.
Mr. Bartz?
Yes.
Mr. O'Brien?
Yes. All right, thank you. Our next meeting is August
7th,
7th.
work session.
It is a work session. All right, thank you.